So far away, Nisha, favourite Samuel L. Jackson role?
Apart from Nick Fury, it has to be when he voiced Frozone. Where is my super suit?
That's so fucking good. I didn't even think of that one. Holy shit, that's a good pick.
You tell me where my suit is, woman! We are talking about the greater good!
Greater good? I am your wife. I'm the greatest good you are ever gonna get.
Samuel L. Jackson likely inks the most lucrative contract of any actor in the MCU, given that he was contractually obligated to appear in 9 of them, netting him millions and millions of dollars. Something the actor was reportedly all kinds of happy about because he loves comic books, something that probably resulted in him ending up in the MCU in the first place.
So how did he end up being in the Marvel films?
Well, here's the thing, right? Long before Samuel L. Jackson was, dropping F-bombs in front of Captain America, a version of Nick Fury who looked exactly like Samuel L. Jackson was slapping people's shit in the Marvel Ultimate Universe. And Nisha, as I'm saying this, I believe you have a copy of the original article. This video is based on in front of you now, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And what does Ultimate Nick Fury look like?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, and here's the thing, he doesn't look like Samuel L. Jackson. He literally is Samuel L. Jackson because the artist who redesigned Ultimate Nick Fury based his likeness on Samuel L. Jackson. And as if it wasn't overt enough that Ultimate Nick Fury is just Samuel L. Jackson, in the very first comic Ultimate Nick Fury appears in, he has a conversation with Dr. Hank Pym, aka Ant-Man, about who would perhaps play him in a theoretical movie based on his life. To which Ultimate Nick Fury responds, "Why Mr. Samuel L. Jackson, of course, that's not even up for debate."
That's amazing.
It's just great. He acknowledges in the comic, yeah, I look exactly like Samuel L. Jackson. Who the fuck else are you going to get to play me?
I kind of like it when in media it cross-references other things. I know the films weren't made at that point, but it's the fact that he made a reference to looking like something else or someone else.
Yeah, he makes a reference to the fact he looks like Samuel L. Jackson. And the operative part of a sentence you just said there, Nisha, is that the films weren't made yet. So to be clear, this isn't something done in response to the success of the MCU. I believe we mentioned in an early video about Agent Coulson, played by Clark Gregg, that character was retroactively put into the comics and they used Clark Gregg's likeness. Now, this was done before the MCU existed, and here's the thing, without the knowledge of Samuel L. Jackson.
So, yeah, we should probably clarify that you're not allowed to do that.
No, you can't just jack a celebrity's likeness and then monetize it without, at the very least, their permission to do so. And Marvel Comics and the artist who redesigned Nick Fury never thought to do that, presumably because they thought, well, Samuel L. Jackson's never going to find out. Well, here's the thing. Samuel L. Jackson is a big fan of comic books. And in fact, will often troll through comic shops to find stuff to read when he's on set or for long journeys and things like that. So imagine his surprise when he was walking in a comic book shop and just so happens to spot a comic book where his own face was staring back at him.
Oh, God, I can't imagine that. What would you do if you walked into a shop and saw your face or Fiend just in a comic? I'd
probably find that funny, but it reminds me a little bit of Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons. Who, according to him at least, maybe owns the largest collection of unofficial Simpsons memorabilia. Because something he really likes doing is finding and buying unofficial Simpsons memorabilia, which is really funny to me because he's within his rights to be mad about that and to sue the people making it, but he apparently finds it so funny, he just buys it and has it on display in his house.
I know we keep bringing it up, but some of my favourite things is just the knockoff stuff, or the really badly made toys.
The Sense of Right Alliance, which we've talked about before, which is just a bunch of knockoff toys all put into a thing, a Justice League, I guess, rip-off. But it has Shrek and the car from Cars. And it's just so shit.
I think one of my favourite ones it's meant to be knockoff of Transformers, and it's called Franz Traumas.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll bring it back to Samuel L. Jackson. And Samuel L. Jackson did not have the same sense of humour that Matt Groening has about knockoff Simpsons merchandise. And according to Jackson, his first reaction was to call up his agent and ask them what the fuck was going on because he didn't remember signing anything. And he certainly didn't remember getting paid. So he was a bit annoyed about that. And his agent did some sleuthing and put him in contact with Marvel.
Okay, so Jackson actually called Marvel up.
Yeah, he did it personally. So he got his agent to find out what was going on, and then he personally called up Marvel to like grill them about why the fuck his own face was staring back at him from a comic book. And can we all just take a moment to contemplate the velocity of the shit that exited the intern who had to answer the phone that day's body? Because can you imagine like angry Samuel L. Jackson at the end of the phone? And the story goes that this intern very quickly managed to find someone higher up at Marvel to talk to Mr. Jackson, who was understandably quite irate that they'd done this. And what they did is they told him, "Oh, hi, Mr. Jackson. We understand that you're annoyed, but we do know that you're a comic book fan, and we wanted to let you know that we are planning on making some movies based on these comics and wondered if you'd like to be in them." At which point, Samuel L. Jackson was like, "Okay, sure, let's make a deal." And he sat down with the people at Marvel, and they told him, "Look, we were planning on making some movies based on the comics, and we was wondering if you'd like to play Nick Fury."
Yeah.
And like obviously the deal here is like, if you agree to play Nick Fury, we can then retroactively get the rights to your image, and then we can sweep this whole thing under the rug. And Samuel L. Jackson, recognizing that he basically held all the cards during these negotiations, said, "Sure, I'll do that, but I want to be in all of them."
Fury, you son of a bitch.
Ooh, you kiss your mother with that mouth?
And Marvel executives like, "Well, we kind of have to agree, otherwise he can quite rightfully sue us into the fucking ground for stealing his likeness," because like we can't even deny it, because the comic character themselves admits they look like him. And there was an interview with the artist saying, "Oh yeah, I based it on Samuel L. Jackson." There was no plausible deniability whatsoever. So Marvel, being over a barrel, agreed that Samuel L. Jackson could be in all of the movies, and he signed a landmark deal to appear in 9 MCU movies. There was a great interview with Samuel L. Jackson where they talked to him about it and go, "Are you bothered?" And he goes, "I was initially, but then I signed a 9-movie deal and got paid like $30 million, and it's cool now."
Wow, yeah.
And he reportedly has extended his contract because he's so happy working with Marvel now. But I just love that. It's like, we were upset a little bit, but then they offered me a 9-movie deal and I kind of forgot all about it.
That's pretty cool.
Fucking love you, Samuel L. Jackson. Never change. The thing that I like about this story the most is that 9-movie deal contract Samuel L. Jackson signed is, if I remember correctly, the most lucrative contract ever signed by an actor in Hollywood. And there's like a couple of other actors who've appeared in like a lot of sequels. Like I think the Fast and Furious franchise is probably the closest one we have right now, where like Vin Diesel has appeared in like all 9. I don't know how many of those there are now of them.
There's just so many.
And then you have like The Rock, who signed like a 4 or 5 movie deal.
Yeah.
But even then, that still tells me like 9 fucking movies in a row. Like there's a lot of Fast and Furious movies, but when they made the first one, Vin Diesel didn't get a 9-movie contract. It's just 9 got made and he keeps getting brought back. But fucking, what a sweet deal that is, isn't it? I'm just such a big fan, though, of the opposite in Hollywood, where these things don't work out. And the example I always bring up is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, which was going to be originally a 7-movie, like, genre-spanning franchise. And Charlie Hunnam's like, "Yeah, I'll sign on for 7 fucking movies," and then it never went anywhere. Oh, no. Then you got the Power Rangers reboot, which again was going to be, I think, a 7 or 9 movie franchise, and all the actors in that were like, "Yeah, we'll sign tentative deals to come back for a couple of them." But no one ever is going to get the same deal Samuel L. Jackson got, because no one has like the bargaining power he had when he went in.
No.
But there's just something about the idea of Hollywood being like, "Yeah, we're going to announce 9 movies in a row before the first one comes out because the MCU did it and succeeded," and then fucking failing. It's like when that Ghostbusters reboot, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be the start of a new trilogy." It's like, it's not even out yet. And it fucking failed and faded away.
Well, one of the film franchises I know that have gone on for so long, but is a bit different to Fast and Furious, is the Saw films, because there's so many of them, but no one ever gets a contract like that because everyone dies.
Yeah, except for
dies in the film.
Tobin Bell, the guy who plays Jigsaw. I think the only other film series where they did anything remotely similar to that is Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because there was 7 planned books when they first made them. So the only franchise that I pulled it off are Fast and Furious and Harry Potter. And hopefully one day we'll see them all combined and we'll have Fast and Harry. You know what? I've not had enough coffee to make a pun about that title. Figure it out in the comments. Workshop it yourselves.